Good day, everyone. Keith Allen from Material Indicators here and getting ready to kick off another live training today, our MTF indicator tutorial. Today, we're going to learn how to set up the MTF indicator, learn how to optimize it for screening and scalping of any asset. We'll wait just a minute for a few more people to join. I see the community already starting to tick their way in. Before we get started, of course, I need to remind you of a few very important things. Starting with the fact that nothing here is considered financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing Material Indicators LLC produces or delivers on any of our channels is considered or should be considered as trading advice. Most especially, you just have to understand that trading is risky. This is a high-risk proposition. Please do your own research and consult a financial advisor for those tough decisions. If you like the content here, please do us a favor, comment, subscribe, like, share, engage with us. We are, of course, on Telegram every single day and night. We've got a phenomenal community joining us there, and invite you to do the same. Our community on Telegram, here's the link. You can also find that very same link and invite on our Twitter channel, MI_algos. See you here as well. So what is MTF? Well, to give you the quick rundown on that, let me just do a quick screen share and take you over to our website at materialindicators.com. And if you navigate to materialindicators.com, you can go right to the products section and navigate straight to the MTF indicator, and it will give you an overview. Now, MTF, our MTF Mean Reversion Indicator is exactly what it says. It's a multi-time frame mean reversion indicator, meaning it is going to give you signals with a high probability of bouncing. And I'll get into that a little bit further here in a moment. Now, we have been working with this indicator for literally years now. I think we're somewhere around 2 years at this point. We are, personally trading BTC pairs and USDT pairs with it, but you can literally use this indicator with any asset you can find on TradingView. We are currently on TradingView with MTF, and we are taking some steps to migrate off of that, so we can free ourselves of some of the limitations that the TradingView puts on us. But we've had over 27,000 alerts, probably closer to 30,000 alerts since April of 2019. That's when we've been tracking every single signal. We haven't necessarily taken every single signal, but we have the data aggregated on all of them. And out of those, 92% of those signals have reached at least 1.25% profit probability or higher in a relatively short amount of time. So what is, what's higher? What's a short amount of time? Those are all great questions. And of course, we're aggregating this data. So these numbers that I'm giving you are historical. Past performance does not necessarily guarantee future results. We all know that and have to understand that going in. But the nature of this indicator is basically calling, identifying potential buy zones and that have a historically and mathematically high probability of bouncing. And over this time, since April 2019, over 92% of them have hit 1.25% or higher. And we're tracking this on a 5-day cycle because we want to be able to turn capital. So we track this for 5 days to get to these metrics, but on average, most of them are reaching at least 1.25% in under 2 days. Many of them within hours, sometimes even minutes. We're going to go through that, and I'm going to actually show you the metrics to back this up rather than just state a claim here, because we try and be we go out of our way to be transparent here. You can use MTF, as a screening tool to identify opportunities and kind of dive into them a little bit deeper on your own before you commit to making a trade or opening a position. But you can also use it to automate trading bots and just flip the switch and let it make you money while you sleep or go on vacation. And finally, we're going to talk about using it as a system, using MTF as a trading system alongside alongside our fire charts, which is really proven itself to be a great way to identify opportunities, mitigate risk, and maximize the profits you can squeeze out of these trades. So we'll get into all of that in due time as we go through the tutorial. Let me go back to my main screen here and see if we got any questions. Hey, thanks, Anonymous. Glad to have you back in here. Hi, Peter. Hey, Veronica. Veronica, I'm a big fan. So glad to have you in the community. You've really been a joy to engage with, and you raised some great questions. She's, for those who don't know, Veronica, like many people in our community, is a relatively new trader, but Veronica asks smart questions and comes up with interesting perspectives, and that's really what our community is all about. Is it's a place for a global community of traders to engage with each other, to share ideas and share insights and gain insights from each other. This is not a Moon Boy channel, perspectives from around the world. Worth noting, of course, as Fred, our founder, has pointed out, that MTF is calibrated to a 1-minute time frame. And so this is not an indicator that you're using for long-range trades necessarily, although we'll talk about how to use it in a buy the dip scenario. But in terms of scalping and even using it to aggregate, say, BTC, which is a very popular thing to be doing right now, I'm going to show you how we can do that. So we've been talking about the metrics, the 92% plus on 1.25%, and the metrics on 2.5% and 5% are also very, very impressive. But MTF can actually get you even higher profits. We really focus on those more easily attainable profit levels of like 1.25% and 2.5% to protect profits and be in a repeatable process, because we want to turn capital as frequently as we can to grow our overall portfolio. So let me see what we have in store here. Okay, here's my my trusty Apple spreadsheet, and I appreciate Brad Nickel, for our partner, for putting this together for me, and Steve for, of course, gathering all these numbers. This is in a snapshot. Here we go. I'm on the 2020 tab right here. All time, this is 17,841 BTC pair alerts since April of 2019. Let's take a look at the year here, since I have this all kind of formatted and ready to go. So in this particular year, or last year, I should say, 2020, there were 9,044 MTF alerts on BTC pairs. Now, we are personally trading and measuring what's happening on Binance, because that's where we're focused at the moment. But you can apply this indicator to literally any asset that you can put on TradingView. Now, we also have metrics on USDT pairs, which perform comparatively about the same as the as the BTC pairs, but there's one key difference in how we approach those. We created the USDT MTF signals to kind of fill in the gaps, because we weren't getting as many. There were times where we weren't getting as many BTC signals as we were hoping for. And so the USDT pairs are optimized at a different deviation setting that gives us a higher frequency of those signals. So there are actually more USDT signals than BTC signals on average. But let's go ahead and look at what we have here. So over 9,000 signals on BTC pairs for 2020. They averaged, in a 5-day period, the average, mind you, was 20.7%. That's a cumulative average from each of these different trades. So, for example, ADA BTC had 10 trades, and the cumulative average out of this, and all of them was about 20%. So through the entire segment of 9,000 some odd trades, right? 5-day profit at this point on each of these signals was 10%, 22%, 27%, et cetera, on down the line. And again, I'm just, I'll even go to just a random thing because I'm not trying to cherry pick here. I want you to see as accurately as I can show you. Here we go. Data BTC. Through 30 signals, through 30 signals over the course of the year, which doesn't sound like a lot. However, you have to consider you've got, hundreds and hundreds of pairs that we're doing this on. So, over the course of the year, it ends up being thousands of signals, especially when you include USDT pairs, if you want to trade that way as well. The 5-day average on Data BTC was 4.47%. Average time to max profits was 5 hours. Now you see some that were longer here, 4-day trades. To get to the max, but look down here, you've got some that were at 13 hours, 5 hours, et cetera, et cetera. 1.25%. How many of these 30 trades hit 1.25%? All 30 of them did. And they did so in, this number I gave you here, this 5 hours was for max profit, but to get to 1.25%, all 30 of them did so in less than 3 hours. And they did so with an average of less than 3% drawdown. Now, 3% drawdown on a 1.25% profit trade is not a great risk reward ratio. So you may consider, higher profit targets. And as you work with this indicator, you're going to get a feel for what kind of stop loss parameters you can sustain. And by using fire charts to analyze the position before you open it, you can determine whether that signal is coming in on or near support, and even minimize the drawdown you're going to subject yourself to. And we'll get into that in a bit. So 28 of those trades hit 5% in that 5-day span, and most of those did that in less than 24 hours. As you can see, there was a little more drawdown for that, but your risk reward ratio now gets better on a larger trade. Of those 30 positions, of those 30 signals, 18 of them hit over 10%, and so on. So, we're not going to recommend profit targets for you. That's up to you. And whether you use technical analysis or whether you simply use the charts and have static TPs of your own, or you are using fire charts to identify your profit targets, there's a lot of different ways to use this. Let's take a look at another one. Link BTC is a popular one, right? 52 signals. Average 5-day is just under 4%. And max profits happening on that in literally 9 hours and 32 minutes. Some drawdown on that max profit. That's a volatile asset, as we know. But of those 52, all 52 hit 1.25%. And they did so on average in about 31 minutes. That's a pretty good return right there. And let's see, 2.5%. All of them hit 2.5%. 50 of the 52 hit 5% or more. So you're getting a feel for these numbers here. When we make the claim of better than 92% of them are hitting 1.25% profit or higher, we have the data and the trades to back that up. So I hope that gives you some perspective of what we're dealing with here. Rui had asked the question, which time frame is the indicator more accurate? No, it is set for a 1-minute time frame, and that's by design. So you're not going to use this as a longer range tool unless you're using it to simply identify dips and buy those dips to accumulate whatever asset you're dealing with. So now let's move into the chart and talk about how we how we can set this chart up on your screen. So I will now head back over to TradingView and load this screen here. You know, I already have a chart loaded, but for those who are new, I want to show you how this works from scratch. Okay, so here's my random chart, and once you subscribe, you will gain access to these tools. So all you have to do is go to where you add indicators to your chart. Click on the tab, go to invite only scripts. It's going to be MTF deviation, and the chart loads. Now the preset, the default setting is a 6% deviation, which is our default and typically ideal for volatile crypto markets. So we're using this for BTC, for all BTC pairs, right? Now for USDT pairs, we actually set to 3. And it's as simple as doing that. And now what you can identify here is that has narrowed the channel here. And hence we see more signals out of that. What are all these lines? We get a lot of questions about all the lines here. And you can actually customize this chart any way that you want. I like a dark background, so mine's on the black background. A lot of people like the light background, so it looks different on that. But I personally like a cleaner chart. So these levels identify the fib levels on this MTF 1 minute chart, and it's only visible here in short time, you know, in these low time frames. If I go to a 30-minute chart, I don't see it, right? And so I will see some of these other shaded areas, and I'll explain what those are in a minute. But I don't see the actual fib channel MTF overlay when I am looking at higher time frames. But by seeing these shaded areas, I can see where previous, you know, the most recent or local buy zones were, and where some recent local tops were. So let's go back to the 1 minute so we can see the chart. Now, when you're screening and trying to navigate and go backwards, you can see these on 3 minute. You don't see it on a 10 minute. You can see it on a 3 minute. It doesn't show every single signal, but it helps you scroll through. Now, there are some limitations with TradingView where we cannot see back historically for more than a couple of weeks on MTF. That's one of the key reasons we're trying to get off of TradingView, and that is a project that is high on the priority list for us. So I'm expecting that to be a goal for this year. But customizing the chart, as I was talking about, let me open this up a little bit so it's a little easier to see. Customizing the chart is very easy. All you need to do, you can either click somewhere on the chart or just go here to the tool and go to your style settings. Now, I want to see the top ranges, the bottom ranges, and the middle ranges, and I'll explain why in a bit. And since I have a black background, I want to make it easier to see. So the first thing I'm going to do, the top level I want to see, I want to make it white. And I'm not so concerned about seeing these other levels. Now, a lot of traders like to track this, or maybe even look at these ranges to you know, trade a groove or a grid. 0.618, I'm typically interested in that level as a potential profit target. So I keep that one engaged, and I'm going to make it a lighter blue so I see it a little bit better. And I'm going to continue to click away the ones that I don't want to see. Just again, to give myself a cleaner looking chart. The 0.5, this is an important level. This is the mid-range, and a mean reversion indicator, as it by definition means that price wants to spring back to that mean level. That would be the 0.5 Fibonacci. I'm going to make this one easier to see as well. I'm going to go with a shade of orange. I'm going to make it a little bit bolder so it sticks out for me. and then I'm going to continue to click away stuff to clean up my chart. And, taking these out does not affect the performance of the chart. It's just merely aesthetics and what you're looking at. If you want to see these levels, then by all means, keep them in. This is not a required move. This is just something that a lot of people ask me about. And because when I post my charts in the Telegram group, I don't have the same level of detail that Fred has in his. So here's the bottom range, right? And I'm going to make that one white as well, so I can identify it very well. And that is where the signals trigger. Signals trigger on MTF when price crosses below this 0 fib level on this 1 minute chart. Now we still have these colored ranges in here, and I can also make those disappear if I want, and simply go back into your style settings. And if you scroll down, there's a lot of stuff in here that you can remove if you don't want to see it. What I'm looking at here is these color shades in these channels, and these are just fill colors. So by clicking them out, boom, 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 they disappear. My chart is getting cleaner, easier to interpret at a glance. I am by no means a genius, so I need to simplify things for myself. So that gives me a much cleaner chart. The other things that are on the chart, I'm kind of interested in keeping there, and I'll show you why. Now you see a lot of TP levels, and when we first started working with the indicator, we were using the TP levels, and what we found is because the chart tends to shift periodically, the TP levels were not always working out the way that we wanted. So we started using static take profit levels, 1.25% and 2.5%, because that's what our metrics were telling us were working so very, very well. And then as fire charts came to life, we started using fire charts to pick take profit levels. So I still like to see them because it just kind of gives me an idea of what some market sentiment might be, but you can click those out of your chart as well, and probably in the next version of MTF, those will go away. Now, these green shaded areas right here, this is recent buy zones, and as you can see, let's get to current here. Okay, as you can see, those happen, anytime that there was a signal. So let's say that price had not yet reached these profit levels, and you see it has already sprung back past the 0.15, past the 0.618, which are typically good profit levels, and it's continuing to climb from there. This is ONE USDT. I'm set to, let me just confirm, I'm set to 3% on this deviation. If I had taken that signal, I would have, let's say I didn't get the first signal and I came in on a higher position, even came in on this position here, right? We have a 1 candle lag on TradingView. So I measure from what the adjacent candle would be just to estimate. And that's 4.29%, even if I got a bad entry on that one. And so, yes, there can be some drawdown, and this can be, this could take you out if you have a tight stop, or you could use it to DCA right here. And of course, if you're just playing the statistics and you're taking every position, if you got a big fat stack and you can afford to do that, then you're playing the statistical game. But in a nutshell, that's how this is working here. Okay, so this green range, as I mentioned, is showing your local, potential buy zones, as is this one. It's the one prior, right? And so on and so forth. So had we not reached this profit level, for example, if this signal had fired and there was a little bit of recovery, then price came back down, didn't necessarily trigger another signal, I I would look on fire charts and see if the support was there and see if this was actually a trade I wanted to take, even though I missed the original signal. Did it still have legs? And in this case, it did. And again, I'll show you how to screen that on a fire chart when it's done on TradingView. So let's look closer at some of the other little things that we see, that we notice on the chart. You see these red lines and blue lines, and I'm going to clean this up just a little bit here so it's easier for us to see. Oh, that's the wrong one. I'm going to take out TP 1s and 2s. And again, we're not using, and we don't recommend that you use those TP signals for automation. Many times they work out, and they work out beautifully, but we think it is a better idea to pick your targets manually. And that could be a static TP that you set on your bots, or it could be targets that you choose through technical analysis or through fire charts or any other means. So you see these green, we talked about these green shaded areas down here, and we have red lines up here that show previous local tops, such as this. So you see this kind of warning sign alert right here, and that is essentially a potential pump and dump alert. Just kind of shows us that something abnormal is happening in the chart, happening in the book, in the order book, and it's kind of an area to proceed with caution. A lot of times it means it's a local dump, and quite often they recover shortly thereafter. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. You have to take each one and consider what it's doing. TP3s, which are also matched with a / poop emoji / dump signal, that again, we're not recommending that you live by these TP signals, but TP3 dump signal is one that typically seems to have some local merit, right? And you can see what's happening on all of these. Not always, but sometimes. And with trading, there is no always. Okay, you know, everything is kind of subjective here. So we have other tools to help us mitigate what's happening here and help decide whether we want to keep a position open or whether it's time to close it. Let's see if we can find some of those juicy profit markers in here. This is VET USDT, and we can see a series of signals have come in, starting in not such a great position here, right? And they got progressively better, but there were other dumps, and fired a flurry of signals down here, but they've all obviously gone to the upside quite well here. So even these have turned profitable at this point. And let's take a look at, see what, I'm just going to kind of drop it right there. Even the not so great, sorry about that. Chart's moving around on me. Even the not so great signal did 7% right there. So they're not all winners. Okay. You know, with 92% of them hitting that profit level, that means that 8% of them aren't. So you have to keep that, in mind. But you know, if you're winning more than you're losing, that's the name of the game here. So again, these could be DCA positions, or if you're playing it statistically, you might open multiple positions. Let's take a look now at fire charts and see if we can identify what was happening here, and I'll show you then how to kind of use these as a system to identify opportunities and mitigate risk, and hopefully win more trades, because that's the goal here at the end of the day, is to make it easier and safer to make money doing this. So let me go ahead and open up my fire charts. And again, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Fire charts is our order book thermal map and CVD. And it currently supports all BTC pairs and all USDT pairs on Binance. We are in the process of scaling our infrastructure so that we can actually see multiple exchanges and have an aggregated order book, et cetera, et cetera. So that is all in the pipeline for this year and hopefully coming relatively soon here. So we were looking at the VET USDT chart. So I'm going to call up VET USDT. Let me just do a refresh on BTC and see what's happening here. Looks like megas are selling right now, but we have some support right here. And for anybody who bought the dip last night or took the wild ride down and back up again, I hope you're enjoying the ride. Let's see, VET USDT. VET USDT. And as we saw, it plummeted through support before it bounced, right? Now, when that first signal came in, you could see that there was some decent support here, but it gave way. And it gave way because there was some major selling here, right? The red class, which is the $10,000 to $100,000 class, I like to call those sharks. They had a big sell-off here. Now, note how this little bit of plunge protection came in here. I'm going to turn off this price tag tool so it's easier to see. Notice this little bit of plunge protection came in right here, and we got a bounce, right? It was like a short hop. And that was the first signal, set of signals. But as we came into this, if I saw this big white beacon of support, and let's see exactly how much that was using the price tool, that was about $836,000 worth of support right there. I would have had some confidence in that level. Now, price still managed to drive through that, but then whales started buying and additional support came below. And when we see this support laddered in there, it typically, not always, but typically facilitates a move upward in price. And as you can see, as that price went up, the laddering began to move up and has done so significantly. Now, VET is running into some resistance right here. And look what's happening. It's running into resistance, and sharks are selling again. So by using MTF and fire charts together, you can create a system that can help you identify risk, mitigate, identify the opportunities and mitigate the risk, right? So MTF sends you the signal, consider that the opportunity, and then lay it up against the fire charts and use that to mitigate your risk. And when you see support coming in like this, that is a fantastic indication that this trade is going to move north. I mean, look at all the laddered support beneath this. That is a sure sign that there's a lot of sentiment to protect this from coming down further, and especially this extra 500 grand that came in at this level. I like to call that plunge protection. This trader, this whale or this shark, whatever you want to call it, I guess it depends on how big you roll, was determined to keep the price from going below this level, right? And so now it's a pretty solid trade. And how could you pick your profit targets? Well, again, you could look at those very safe or what we consider to be the safer numbers of a low, low profit percentage, high probable profit percentage, like 1.25% and 2.5%. Or you can use fire charts to say, all right, at 0.0276, I see some resistance. Maybe I want to take some profit there, and so on and so forth. And you can of course use split TPs where you protect some profits, take some profits off the table earlier, and potentially let the balance of the trade stay open with a trailing stop loss, so you're protecting your minimum profits and hopefully able to squeeze out a little bit more out of that trade. So I hope that gives you a good overview of fire charts and MTF as a screening tool and a system, really. So if there is any questions, and I see a good one here. Let's see. Veronica says, do you see any merit in using MTF if someone is trading in BUSD or Euro pairs? Would a signal on the USDT pair be a good indication on the other pairs too? Well, you don't have to do the signal on the other pairs. Do the signal on exactly what you're setting up, right? So let's take you back to the chart here. You're doing Euro pairs. So I haven't ever traded Euro pairs, so I don't know what it looks like, but let's see. The indicator is going to work exactly the same. So let me take you back to the chart. Let's see if we can do, Veronica, if you have a pair you want to see, let me know, but I'm just going to see if I can pull up something random here. Here you go. On Coinbase for the brave. Okay. Simple as that. Right. So I would check the volatility on euros versus USDT. But let's see if we went to a higher deviation, what that looks like. And again, any asset. So if we took it to the more volatile setup, all right, it eliminates a lot of signals, but the accuracy on those signals is higher. We can discuss this further and experiment with it in the chat, Veronica, if you like. I saw another question in here. Hang on a second. So Fred actually commented on that. He says Euro pairs are less liquid, so you might get better entries, but also have more risk. MTF is a long only indicator, also worth noting. Anonymous says, how complicated is it to set up the bots with MTF? Well, I will tell you that I'm not a developer. I'm not a programmer. I am not very technical at all, but let me show you very quickly how to do that. And we have more information on it in our documentation that goes, that you get when you subscribe. But let me show you how to do this. Right. So if you want to set an alert, you simply have to go to the alert screen. Right. So you go to the alert screen, and set up your alert. I'm on the 1 minute chart. You need to make sure you're on a 1 minute chart, and that you have your deviation set to what you want it set for that asset, right? So if you're doing USDT pairs, you want to be at 3%. If you're doing BTC pairs, you want to be at 6%. And your condition is going to be MTF. Okay, you could take a tier 1 or a tier 2. Oh, we didn't discuss the difference between tier 1s and tier 2s, so I'll do that as well. Tier 1 and tier 2 signals perform essentially comparable to each other, very, very close to each other in terms of performance. And there are typically more tier 1s than there are tier 2s. Tier 2s were designed to give you really as safer entries, is the simple way to put it. So we did MTF deviation is the condition. I want to do a signal on a tier 1. And if I wanted to take tier 2 signals as well, then I need to create another alert for tier 2 signals. This is not on us. This is how TradingView works. And I want to do so once per bar closed. Okay. So the signal prints after the 1 minute candle closes. And then if you want notifications, et cetera, if you want to automate your bot, you simply insert the bot command message right here. And I'll show you in a second what that looks like. Here, I'm not going to put one in because I don't want to open up my bots, but you're essentially just putting that message in here, right in the bottom. So whatever bot system you're using, we use 3 commas. If you subscribe, in the documentation, you'll get the info on how to set that up and how to program your bots on 3 commas. 3 commas has a ton of tutorials, so you can get that information from them as well. Let's see if we have any other questions here before we wrap this thing up. Let's see. Yes. So it does work with any pair. In fact, let's do this. Let's take it over to, you guys want to get crazy? Let's take MTF over to the stock market. Tesla on the NASDAQ. Now, different asset, different volatility. Let me see if I know Brad's been tracking that. I have not, so I don't even know what his settings have been. But let's see. Let's try. I think that's let's try like 4% and see what that looks like. And when you're setting up new assets, you're going to experiment, right? You are, as we said, our defaults on USDT pairs are 3% and on BTC pairs are 6%. But if you're doing, a new asset, like for example, Tesla, you're going to want to get a feel for what it's doing and what it takes to trigger signals here. So I'm not seeing much here on a 4% setup. Let's see if we have any big dumps that we want to, that we think should have potentially fired. So let's see what it looks like on something a little bit tighter. Let's go to 3%. All right, we're getting closer. Okay, there you go. So 3%. And let's see what some of these signals would have produced. Roughly here. Oh, that was a sweet 9.5%. So again, you just need to experiment with it. If you're going to use it on different assets outside the ones that we talked about earlier, you just need to kind of find the sweet spot of relative to the volatility of that particular asset. And again, this is on a 1 minute time frame. So this is for long scalps on a 1 minute time frame. You can also, of course, use this to buy dips and aggregate, right? So if you just want to buy Tesla, or you want to buy Bitcoin every time it fires an MTF, every time it has a significant dip with a high probability of bouncing, then you can do this the very same way. If you want to aggregate Bitcoin, then by all means, let's think of how we might do that. What's the simple way? Simple way is to set up MTF alerts on various coin pairs, BTC coin pairs, and just scalp away, right? So I just set this to so I need to go to 6% because this is on BTC pairs, and to make it easy, you can set up charts and save them in TradingView as BTC alerts and USDT pairs, so that you don't have to keep switching your deviation every time you open a new asset. So looking now at ADA BTC, I have no idea what this thing has done lately, but it looks like there are, oh, that's a close one, but didn't quite get there, right? It was a good bounce, but it did not fire a signal. So, if you're using this to aggregate, then you just keep scalping away, right? And adding to your BTC stack. So it doesn't look like we had any recent signals on ADA, but I think you get the point here. So maybe one down here, maybe. Nope, it's held. No, and this is why actually we have we can screen this at 3 minutes at least to maybe get through the chart a little bit faster, because it's quite cumbersome with TradingView. And let's see if we had a big dip that fired a signal. Oh, hang on a second. Am I on 6%? Yes, I am. I just double checking my deviation. You can see a lot of craziness happening up here. So ADA has not had a signal in a while. There was obviously one before this, but TradingView does not let us go back that long. So let's see if I can find a better example. How about like ETC? And any exchange, any asset, right? So here's something we hadn't talked about. These 10%, these blue markers, they're basically just showing you what profit levels were reached after recent trades or recent signals, I should say. So that means somewhere in here, we're going to get to a signal. Here we go. Here's a tier 1 that went 5% very, very quickly, and then on to 10% plus. So there you have it. If there's any more questions, go ahead and send them over real quick. Otherwise, we can discuss it in the Telegram group, Fred for a stock. So again, I appreciate you guys all following along, and welcome again to all the new members of the community. We welcome you to our global trading community, and hope that you will engage with us, check out our tools, and of course, if you're just following us here on YouTube or Periscope or Twitter, hope that you will come check us out. We've got a full suite of tools: our trend precognition, our MTF Mean Reversion Indicator, and fire charts are our first products that we have launched. And we've got a great community over on Telegram. If you haven't joined us yet, we invite you to do so. Please stop by and see what's going on there. And if you like the content that we are sharing here, please do us a favor. Please comment, like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and engage with us over on Telegram. We are there every single day and night. We've got a great community of traders from around the world sharing ideas, sharing insights, and helping each other become better traders. Again, everything that we shared here is information and education, no trading advice. That's not what we do. We make great tools. We aggregate an amazing amount of data and help you analyze it and use it to make money. Hope it's working for you. We appreciate the time you spent with us and look forward to engaging with you in the community. Looks like I got one more comment out here. Oh, a thank you. An excellent thank you. Hey, thank you, Veronica. Again, we appreciate you. So without further ado, we're going to wrap it up. My name is Keith Allen. Thanks for joining us. Look forward to engaging with you in our global community of traders on Telegram and on Twitter and anywhere else you want to find us. Talk to you later. Have a great weekend.